Commissioners, before we get started, I would like to recommend a couple of minor changes on our agenda. The first one being that item number 7, Ms. Cochran, on the tax assessor update, that we move that up to, let's call it 4A. She's got some important information tonight. And then the other change, I would like to add Ms. Gazaway to give us a financial report. And if we could move that to item 8B. Any issues with that? Okay, do I hear a motion? A second. All in favor? Okay. Changes as noted. Okay. First item, number 2, the appointment of Ms. Karen Jones as our permanent county clerk. She would also be Ms. Gazaway's assistant financial director. So she has a dual job, but I would like to make that motion. She has done very well for us in the time she's been here and willing to step up and take this on with the appropriate schooling that will follow. So, gentlemen, any discussions on item number 2?
I think you're doing a good job.
Okay. All right. I make a motion that we appoint Ms. Karen Jones as Fannin County Clerk. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Okay, motion carries 3-0. Congratulations, Karen. Okay. All right, item number 3, approve the minutes of the June 13th regular meeting. Let me know when you've had the chance to look those over and ready to vote.
I have no problem with it. I'm very ready.
Okay. Commissioner Johnson, any?
None.
Okay. I hear a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion.
Hear a second?
Second.
Second, all in favor? Karen, would you like these for signatures right here, for you to keep them? Okay. Keep the big red folder. Okay, next public commentary. 3 minutes maximum. Please raise your hand if you wish to speak. Tell us your name and where you live in Fannin County. So who would like to be first? Yes, sir.
Up here,
Pardon?
Right here.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. My name's Andy Owens, and I live out at,
No, sir, please face the microphone and speak to us.
oh, okay.
That's all right. We don't penalize you on that. I know we're ugly to look at, but just try to handle it.
My name's Andy Owens, and I live out at Cooper Creek Crossing out at Cooper's Creek. I'm here today to request that the county take over Cooper Creek Crossing and Angler's Alley, which is located in Retreat Cooper Creek. I've visited here several times over the past 5 years and have not gotten an answer yet on this. I'm always told we'll look at it. I met personally with most of the commissioners, sometimes several times. After several years, 2 or 3 years attending the meeting here requesting that the county take over the road, I was talking to Marie Woody, and she said, well, you've got to sign over your rights to the road and get put on the list. So we went and did that process, and everybody signed over their roads, their rights to the roads there. We live in a very nice community. There's about 60 lots in there. There's 5 houses in there right now, and a lot of the people who want to live there, I've heard, cannot get loans because of the private roads. So it would be a great benefit to the county to get some houses in there, because that'd bring a lot of money in. There is, the streets are already paved. We've got underground utilities. The streets are in good shape. They were paved by Mr. Johnson. He said they were in good shape. And there will be no street maintenance required there because each one of the lots are required to take care of their own front yard all the way out to the street. We gave the county permission to cut a emergency road through our property up there to go into the adjoining Cooper Drive because they rebuilt the bridge there, and they cut a road through one of our landowners' property so they could get out and get in and get out when they were building the road. So that's one of the things that we had done for the county. The present one-lane bridge that we've got in there right now is only about a foot above the water. I'm sorry, about 3 or 4 feet above the water, and when it rains, or when we actually get a flood, not when it rains, but it gets really backlogged with a lot of debris from the National Forest, and we just don't have the ability to clean that out ourselves. So we asked the county a couple of years ago, Mr. Simons, why they ever let them build that bridge in the first place. He said, well, we're not required to give permits or anything. We found out that to be incorrect. The Fannin County Development Ordinance dated 2001 and 2004, Chapter 3, Article S3.611, subdivision standards and approval process says differently. Said that the bridges and stuff put in subdivision must be approved by the county commissioners, and I gave you a copy of that also. So we respectfully request that you take over these 2 roads. Thank you very much.
How many of your folks are here supporting you, Mr. Owens? Raise your hands.
3 of us right now.
Okay.
Most of them, a lot of them right now.
Thank you, Mr. Owens. We appreciate it. All righty, who would like to be next? Yes, sir. And if you can, bend the microphone in, make sure it's on, and speak into that, please.
I certainly will.
Thank you.
One for you. Oh, excuse me. A little binder here for you, Mr. Cover. And one for you, sir. Yeah, my name is Thomas Watson.
Is it on?
I guess it's not. Okay.
Oh, there you go. Thank you.
My name is Thomas Watson. I live at 495 Stanley Ridge Road up in Worthington. And I spoke with you on the phone, Mr. Helpin, about a month ago, I guess. And what I'm concerned about, and most of my neighbors are as well, up there, is that the North Burgess Gap Road that's between Picklesheimer and Stanley Ridge Road, it's only 0.3 miles long, but it's much in need of maintenance. And the county, somehow or another, it used to be maintained. I don't know the story on that, but it's no longer maintained, but it is no longer on the list. And when I spoke to you on the phone about a month ago, you explained all that to me, that there should be a meeting in July and a vote having to do with what roads to either add to or delete from the list. That was my understanding. Is that correct?
Repeat that again then. No.
About a month ago, how about if I just talk like this? I talk loud.
No, please just speak to us.
Okay, yeah. About a month ago when I spoke to you, my understanding was that there's a list that y'all work out off of
Correct.
for the non-paved roads to maintain. And you were going to have a meeting in July to decide what roads to add to or delete from the
Correct.
list.
Correct.
Okay. And so what I did, if you noticed in the binder, I hope both of y'all, all of y'all will read that. I have 56 signatures of the people that I could get up there, and it was a composite effort to put together the 2 documents. There's one document in here. It says petition for county road to provide maintenance on North Burgess Gap, and it's got some photographs, and it's got there's some verbiage explaining that it's an issue that I would hope that would be considered. And then over in Enchanted Forest, there's actually a homeowners association. And a Harriet Butchko, I guess you pronounce it, she's a doctor for whatever that's worth. She's the president or vice president of the Homeowners Association, and she also wrote a letter indicating that there was a great need for the county to give very strong consideration to maintaining that 0.3 mile long stretch of North Burgess Gap Road between Picklesheimer and Stanley Ridge. So I would hope that the commissioners would take this into consideration in a favorable way for us folks that live up there.
We thank you for the documents. We appreciate that information.
Thank you very much.
Okay, sir, thank you. Who would like to speak next? Okay, are we talking a different situation than North Burgess Gap Road? Is that what you two gentlemen, do you have the same subject or something different?
It's similar, but it's a different road.
Okay, all right. Whichever one of you wants to come up, please.
Henry Furman at 226 Rocky Road. We run right off of Burgess, but it's the other end from 76.
Okay.
And we're roughly about half a mile or less long, Rocky Road is. And it used to be maintained years back, from what I understand, from the county. The county now just goes up to the mailboxes. And we are getting a lot of rain, and for the last 3 years since I'm there, like a lot of washout. That road hasn't been maintained since I'm there. But when I hear it hasn't been maintained for many years. And it got so bad that this past week we had Bob Thompson help us out a little bit. But we have an issue there. There's about 7 homes on that road. And the main issue is, for most of the people, it's a hardship case to spend any money. So there's been like 2 or 3 of us footing the bill to maintain that road. But it got so bad where the mailboxes are, where it goes onto Rocky Road, that it got so washed out that we almost thought that we had to dig it out and put it like a culvert there. But I'd like you to consider maintaining that little piece, which goes from the mailboxes, goes to 1, 2, 3 more homes, and then it goes up to my property, which we also gave the fire department the access with to go in to the National Forest. There's another home back there. I used to own 226 and 227. 227 was just sold. That's right by the National Forest. So the fire department goes in there, well, forestry, they go in there, and they can get in there when it's really muddy, but right now, even after fixing it last week, they got washed out again, and we're doing more to it. So I would like to just ask you all to consider taking care of that little.
Okay. Do you mind repeating your name, or we can spell it?
Yeah, it's Henry, Henry, FehRmann, and it's 226 Rocky Road in Morganton.
And is that pronounced Furman?
Fairman, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
If you need a cell phone number, I'll be happy to give it to you.
You can give that to the county clerk after the meeting, if you would. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Who would like to be next? Okay. Mr. Garner? Thank you. Who would like to speak next? Mr. Webb?
Thank you. I would also like to say I'm retired, but I volunteer. As a volunteer, it'd be very hard to get here during the day, especially on Tuesdays. That said, last time I gave you all a challenge to manage as if you were Boy Scouts. This week I'll give you a challenge to actually do your budget and accounting and public information as well as Blue Ridge Community Theater does. This weekend we had 108 of our finest children on stage. There literally were 11 separate performances. Over 1,200 people came to see our children do The Lion King, Peter Pan, a play written by one of our youths, plays directed by our youths who've now been in summer camp 16 years. This is a very worthwhile thing. The reason I bring it up is because we started basically moving lodging excise tax from the chamber to the county. The theater, through co-marketing, is eligible for those grants, and we have received $10,000 from them for co-marketing. This allows us to put our money into the children's programs, please. But as y'all look at the excise tax moving back and forth, understand there are a lot of organizations in Blue Ridge and Fannin County who count on that for marketing. And we have about a $50,000 marketing budget, so $10,000 is only 20% of that. That said, it's essential that these programs have marketing and money for funds. So I urge you, as you move money from there to here, to set up the system so that organizations receiving that money for marketing can continue doing that. And this is a prime example for that. I'd also like to state my concern that we've had a lot of things done this year that are budgetary matters, where we haven't had money in the budget, and we've had to look at basically adjusting the budget or adding to the budget. Those all should have written documents, they should have narratives. We ought to understand where that money is coming from, what it's replacing, and where it's going. And that's simply not my opinion, that's what the charter says. The charter says if we have an unbudgeted need, that we can vote to fulfill that need. However, we must say where the funds are coming from first. It's in the charter. I'm simply asking that you gentlemen follow the law. I'm very concerned about the 9/11 system. We voted to spend the 2010 splash on it completely, 10% of the capital, no problem. That's only $2.5 million. We've already spent $500,000 or so in land acquisition. We're now going to spend another $500,000 over the budget in the building, and we don't know where it came from. So please, let us know where the money is and where it's coming from. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Holcomb.
Debbie Holcomb, Sugar Creek area. I just want to say, I'm not saying that you guys aren't doing a great job, because you are. County runs, things are getting done. I hear people come up, they ask for things are getting done. The only thing I'm asking is that transparency just doesn't seem to be happening, which is essential. The two posts wanted to be able to see what was being spent over the 4,500. I understand that. They were signing them here. Now all of a sudden it's not on the agenda. My question is there something quite not right that now all of a sudden they're being signed on strange days that we don't know about? It just begs a question. Number two, the fact that, we were able to get these if we asked for them correctly. Then all of a sudden we're being charged for them. And believe you me, on a disability paycheck, this is getting to be a little ridiculous when I'm paying $30 and $40 per month just to get copies of checks that are approved over $4,500. I just don't feel that that is appropriate or correct or transparent. I also don't feel that when you guys discuss later on the agenda, moving the meeting times, that again, it is to the best interest of your taxpayers who voted for you to try to move the meetings to a time when most people can't make it. I'm not accusing, but it seems to me, what, you don't want us to come because there's something you don't want us to know? I just want you to know that we're watching and we're questioning why. Why is all this going on? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Holcomb. Anyone else? Anyone else? Public commentary is closed. Thank you very much. Okay, Ms. Cochran, come on up and talk to us about the Board of Assessors.
Thank you, Dawn, for having me. Did each of you get this handout I stuck in the boxes? Did you get this right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm just gonna cover that. Basically, what this is a 2013 versus 2016 audit sales ratio study. We did receive our 2016 audit from the Department of Audit today. And I did a little summary. If you have any questions, you can get with me later. I don't want you to have to flip through a bunch of paper, but basically in 2013, our overall ratio study was a 35.31. And it now has came up to a 38.79. Our residential ratio study was a 35.49, and for 2016 sales, it came up to at 38.45. The COD, which is the coefficient of dispersion, was a 19.54. It is now 14.90. PRD was a 105.02. It is now a 102.89. And then I gave you the acceptable ranges underneath it. So for the 2016 Department of Audit, all of those categories were in line. They were within the range. The second page is just a sample snippet tool of the actual 2013 sales ratio study. It'll give you the residential, and then ag, commercial, and industrial all grouped together. The third page is the letter we received from the Department of Revenue stating that due to Fannin County's residential COD being out of line in 2010, then also again out of line in 2013. 2010 it was a 21.08. 2013 it was a 19.54. And in order to be in line, it has to be a 15 or less. And so this year, it actually fell at 14.90. And then the 2013 ratio study was out of line also, coming in at a 35.31. That number now is a 38.79. So the letter attached here explains that we were facing a $130,000 fine. And then the Board of Assessors and the Board of Commissioners elected to enter into a consent order with the Department of Revenue in order to be given additional time to correct these deficiencies. So we've all been waiting to see where these numbers fall, and for 2016, they did fall within the guidelines. On the very bottom of the back page, I gave you the 2013 county portion of the net digest versus the 2017. And the 2017 has got an asterisk by it because that is, of course, preliminary right now because we're still in the point of assessment notices and 30-day tracking. So that is our update for the actual audit department. The appeals process is going really well. We have approximately 250 appeals. We're still conducting the site visits. We have approximately 10,000 or a little less of those to still look at out of the 27,000 parcels. So we have seen quite a bit of an increase in values, and the majority of those assessment notices that have gone up dramatically were taxpayers that they didn't understand that they weren't paying for everything to begin with. We may not have been charging for the garage, or maybe we weren't charging for the basement square foot. So I again encourage anybody that has questions about their bill or about their increase to come by the tax assessor's office and let us review their accounts for accuracy. I don't really have anything else unless anybody has any questions.
So the big takeaway from this is in 2013, we were below the state requirement of 36% minimum, 44 maximum, 35, 31. And now in 3 years, that ratio, which was official today, is that correct? I mean, it's official from the state. That sales ratio is 38.79, which puts us up in that acceptable range. Should get us out of consent order, and reflects a lot of hard work the last few years to get the county basically out of trouble and keep the state from trying to take over.
Well, assessing fines and
Yep.
things like that. But
Yep.
yes, and I do want to just take a quick second to thank my staff and the commissioners for, bearing with us, letting us work through these difficulties. They have worked very hard. The staff have really pulled off some serious numbers, and I appreciate every hour they put in.
So is it a fair statement to say that the three of us here sometime in the near future are going to have to look at giving a millage decrease and some tax relief to the citizens of the county?
I think so. With the increase of the value of our actual digest value, with the increase there, I think that the school board and the commissioners should be taking a look at that and see if they can roll back the mill rate. And if they choose to roll back the mill rate, the taxpayers do not see that worst case scenario on that notice of assessment as far as the tax bill dollar.
Well, this is big news.
Thank you very much.
When does the consent order come out? Is it out now, or is it?
It'll actually reply to the commissioners and the Board of Assessors. They were waiting on these numbers. And so I would say probably mid-July, if I had to guess, if we got these numbers earlier than I expected. And so we'll wait to hear back from them. You know, everything was really contingent upon whether the numbers had met their criteria, so we'll wait to hear. Any questions?
No, maybe I just make a comment. I appreciate you putting the burden back on us to calm everybody back down.
Oh, no, I didn't intend to do it that way.
Now that the numbers are up, no, but I mean, y'all done a lot of work in 3 years.
Thank you.
I'm glad to get back into compliance, because this has been, I know since I've been here, this has been an issue.
Yeah.
And it's one of the issues that I hope we're gonna have behind us and never surface again.
Me too.
So.
Thank you.
Y'all did a good job, and as the chairman just stated, we're gonna have to look at, we already had the cheapest millage rate in Georgia, now we're definitely gonna have the cheapest maybe.
That is
Darn.
So,
That is true.
Very good, we appreciate it. It's very timely for all this to come out today.
I
I
know.
call it divine providence, maybe.
Thank you.
And I'd like to thank the board. I know you have a 3-person board that's had a lot of work on their shoulders to do. And we thank everybody for their involvement with this. I mean, it's a tough job. I remember about 2 or 3 years ago when we had some changes at the board, and I remember you making a statement that you don't know why anybody going to take this on. I've thought about that ever since. It's, you know, you appreciate the board getting involved in this and taking a lot of flack. There's more criticism in that area than anything else we get. But it's a necessary job, and we just hope the end product, when we get things done, that we'll do. I know we're going to do our best to do the taxpayers right. So, but we thank you very much.
Thank
So,
you. Thank you so much.
no, take off.
Thank you.
Okay, we have some variance requests. And I'm going to read these variances off, and I'm going to ask, as I do, if anyone has any objections, anyone present, as we read these off. I think that's the fair thing to do. And if we'll have some discussion, and then we'll ask if anyone has an objection. The first variance I have is Union Hill Baptist Church, and they want to build a Sunday school room 30 feet from the edge of Weaver Creek Road. Been out there, looked at it. It's really just in the same plane as the current structure, so you're not really building anything closer than what you already have, is my understanding. So is there anyone here that's going to object to these fine Union Hill Baptist people adding on to their church and doing more good things in their community and doing it with what I consider acceptable standards? You gentlemen have any issues with it?
I have none. I went and looked at it. It's just basically the same spot. I make a motion to accept it.
Okay, do we have anybody here objecting to it? Nobody objected, okay? I'll second your motion, Commissioner Sosby. All in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries. Okay. Next variance is Joel Daniel Allen and Deborah J. Allen. This is in the Highland subdivision off of Spur 60. That's a new subdivision out there, very beautiful area. This lot, number 18, they want to build a new home, including a porch 35 feet from the edge of Highland Gap Road. And been out there, it's at this point, it's almost way out in the sticks. I mean, I almost got stuck getting out there. So it's not going to be an issue for a long time, and we have issued variances out there before, closer than this. It's got some steep areas. So is there anyone here that objects to the Allens building their new home, including the porch, 35 feet from the edge of Highland Gap in the Highland subdivision? Anybody here to object to that? You didn't raise your hand, did you, Lane? That was, I just saw that quick motion. Do I hear a motion that we approve this variance?
Make a motion.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second, all in favor? Motion carries. Okay, the next variance is from Johnny Pittman and Jerry Hensley. This variance was presented at our last meeting and voted on the table until this meeting. And it's to place the house 30 feet from the edge of Chickadee Drive. I think the previous request was to place it 20 feet from the edge of Chickadee Drive, and we had some citizens that objected to that. So is there anyone here in that subdivision, Scenic Heights, that objects to Johnny Pittman and Jerry Hensley building the new home 30 feet from the edge of Chickadee Drive? Anyone here? Okay. You gentlemen have any input or thought on this one?
I make the motion, we approve it.
Okay, do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor? Motion carries. All right, that takes us down to Miss Woody. You're going to give us an update on the condemnations and litter control.
Marie Woody, Fannin County Land Development Office. I've written this all out for y'all too, so. On the condemnations, the bids were sent out for the 188 Riverside Lane for 6 people to bid on. One came back and said no way he wouldn't bid on it. They have until July the 10th to submit their bids, and then I will present them at the next board meeting on July the 11th, if we get any bids. And the 2 new ones that I presented for condemnation to y'all in May, on the Bell Lane, the family called and said that the property was an heir's property, and as soon as the estate was settled, they would take care of the house. They have mowed and cleaned up around it. The Mobile Road letter that I sent out, I received a certified letter back. The regular mail letter has not returned.
It's been 4 days, yesterday.
Really? Oh, thank you.
Wait,
Was there more than one on Mobile? This is one across from the voting precinct.
It was the skeleton mobile home.
It's tore down and been put in the trash,
All
voted right now.
Good, I didn't know that. Okay, and as y'all will, let me go back to, about the bid for the one on 188 Riverside Lane. I had a lady come in today who lives beside that property, and she has a issue with, maybe somebody coming up that driveway and using that driveway to take that home down because she has a very small lot and a septic there. So we're gonna have to be very careful when they take that one down. It might be an issue for a neighbor. If they run over her septic, she might not have a buildable lot there. So, going down to number 3, I've got a complaint on the new one there attached, so y'all can see how beautiful it is.
Okay. Looks like the trees falling around, it might take care of most of it for you. Okay. Where is this one at, Ray, to do?
Just a second, I'm sorry. I apologize, I don't have the name on this list here, and, it's out in the Mobile community something.
is this your copy?
Oh, it might be,
Here, you got it.
sorry about that.
Earl, I kind of favored your request.
Well, I did have
My
notes
cousin.
on the back of it, sorry about that, Earl. This is the lady that had complained about it with the notes on the back with her phone number, and she says she has a house at the end of the road, and when real estate agents take people down to view her house at the end of the road, that people will not purchase her house because of, I'm sorry, I don't remember. I apologize. I thought I had it in my notes, but I didn't.
Will you follow up with Commissioner Sosby and give him the
I will.
information?
Yes.
Actually, all three of us, if you would.
Yes, sir, I will. Sorry about that. And on the garbage patrol, there is a Georgia law. It is Georgia Law 16-754. Whenever garbage, and I'm paraphrasing a lot because they have a lot of words in it, and I'll be glad to get the newspapers a copy if they'd like. Whenever garbage is dumped or lost, if there's a name in it, they are responsible. It would be up to the judge's discretion if they were fined or not. And I do have a copy of the law, and I believe I attached it for all of y'all. I've gone to the 2 different dump stations, and I've given a verbal warning on the first day I was out there to a couple of commercial haulers. And I did give one written warning to a commercial hauler. And the last time I was out there, all the commercial haulers had their loads parked that came in the station.
We got some kind of sign out here that states what, for them to do, because I had 2 calls, and, that, apparently they don't read either of the papers, and they, when they arrived, you know, they was aware that this was the process. These were individual haulers, they wasn't.
Okay, there is signs at each one of the stations. In fact, they're on the gates at the stations that states that they must park their loads. And the road department made those signs, and those signs has been out there over 60 days now.
They are visible over, it can be read. So,
Yes, sir. And they've been out there over 60 days because we put them up May 1st. So we didn't even start out there until June, so. they've
Have
been
you
out
had
there-
any trouble with the individuals?
A few,
Okay.
a few. I mean, and I don't consider them the same as the commercial haulers. I mean, they're the citizens, they may not be aware that they're supposed to park the load.
Well, our goal here is not to be harsh with people by seeing how many fines we can get. It's to educate the public and to stop litter. I mean, it's never going to stop the battle we have on it, but we have a lot of people talking about it now. I think we've raised awareness, and it's not a fad. You know, as long as I'm sitting here, it's going to be something I'm very much dedicated to. We live in one of the most wonderful places in the whole country, certainly in the South. And I think we need to take care of the little treasure place called Fannin County. And I appreciate your efforts on this. I know it's not easy to go out there and do that, but you're doing it in the right way. You're not being harsh with people, and we're not just trying to see if we can stick someone with a fine. We're just trying to educate people. And from what I've gathered in private conversations with you, people are starting to get that.
I have not been harsh with anybody. I've tried to be very respectful to the citizens
Right.
of the county and tried to talk to them in a nice, decent
Right.
manner. So.
Right. Well, we had some, you know, there were some, I'll just say, folks that said we could not do this. Well, it's state law. I mean, Commissioner Johnson pointed that out some time ago, that if you have a bag of garbage, it doesn't matter whether you hauled it or whether somebody else did or the fairy godmother left it there. If it's got your name and address in there, you can write a citation, and then you have to go to magistrate court, and then it's up to the judge to decide whether you're guilty or not. That's his discretion. But the legality of being able to do that is complete, and we have that here. So I would just like for that point to be made and people understand that. And again, not just, we're just trying to keep our county clean.
And the very first thing was the building permits. I didn't discuss that. I apologize.
Well,
We've had.
before we move on to that,
Oh,
and to be clear, because I'm thankful that the chairman took one of what I said in a couple of the letters to the editor about the state law, and we're talking about state laws, not local ordinances, correct? So
Yes.
what supersedes any local ordinance we have?
well, the state law would supersede the local ordinance.
Okay, so I'm correct in assuming that.
Yeah.
The only reason, I understand, and I'm just saying this for the simple fact of, because it seems like we're trying to do a good thing, and it's to clean up our county and prevent it from getting cluttered with litter of any sort. And you know, I personally took it like, I thought we were trying to do a good thing. And then in some of the news outlets, you get just lambasted by things that we're just trying to, number one, follow state law, not our local ordinance, TARP when necessary, or whatever the ordinance says. It is state law that you have to secure your load, whether you're hauling garbage, whether you're hauling equipment, whether you're hauling, I can remember back in 2005, I had a dump situation that I dealt with you on, and we had to find the responsible person by thumbing through the garbage, and when we found it, I know how we handled it. You had to issue a citation to the people who dumped the garbage on my property, and you're responsible for your garbage, and it's up to the judge to say if you're responsible or not if you didn't dump it there. But the owner of the garbage is the owner of the garbage until it reaches the landfill. That's by state law, not our local ordinance, correct? And I'm being redundant for a reason, everyone. I want you to understand that. I mean, because whether it's being told we're wrong by a local law enforcement officer, we need to read the state law and go by that first before we go by our local ordinances. Secondly, it's very clear that all we're trying to do is keep the sides of our roads from looking the way they did. Because within the past 2 months, I don't know how anyone in this room or the two of you feel, but it was almost as bad as I remember when we took the dumpsters up. I was young, but I remember it. And people were putting garbage everywhere. And, you know, it almost got to that point on our roadsides. It's just stuff everywhere. And I can say, and anyone in this room can say, it is starting to curtail itself a little bit. There's not as much everywhere. We've still got a long way to go, but we had to start somewhere. And I appreciate your efforts, because I know it's not the most popular thing to do. And I'm sure you probably don't like doing it. But once people understand, no matter what it is, it has to be a secure load. No matter what it is. And especially garbage. Well, I mean, we don't need bags of garbage thrown out all over our county. And I appreciate what you've done, because I can see it's helping. I'm sure they feel the same way. I mean, it is definitely helping. But I'm glad that you took the time to clarify what the state law was, not a local ordinance, not from a local law enforcement official, wherever all these people get their information. I'm glad you recited the state law, because that is the law. And I thank you for doing so, and having a copy of it readily available for anybody to read. And that's all I have to say.
One other thing, you and I had a talk on the phone about getting rid of these old tires, and you said there were funds available to do so. Okay, what funds are you speaking of?
I'm talking about the tire recovery program through EPD.
What do we have to do to get involved in that?
I've got all the paperwork. It's a matter of,
Is it gonna be like it was the last time?
no, it will not. No, we will have, probably it'll be, I'd have to discuss it with y'all personally. I mean, you know.
We
about
need to
where
do
we-
something about this, because there's a lot of this in our county. When people buy these lots, I had one individual down there had over 200 tires the other day trying to get me to haul them for him. And that's just one.
If he has purchased the lot and they were there before he
They were there
purchased
before
it,
then.
and he cannot afford to take them up, then I have a form, it's called an abatement form, that he can do through EPD. He has to sign off that he did not place them there, and that he does not have the funds available to remove them, and EPD will help him as far as removing those tires. It has to go through the county first. We have to do the form, and I've got one that I need to go out and look at to verify already.
It's not that he didn't have the funds, he just didn't have the capability or no means of anywhere to get rid of them.
Well, he
That's
can
what
sign a
it was.
letter saying that he's not responsible, and that would take the responsibility off of him somewhat. So I can get with you and talk to you about it.
We
if you
need
like.
to do this, because the situation of it is him, where are we gonna get rid of him? Is Mr. Murray still hauling?
No, I don't believe he is, but, there's another company that's hauling for the state of Georgia for EPD.
Okay, I'll get with you.
We've had 24 building permits for the month of June, a total of 126 for the year, and, at this time last year, we had 135, so we're down with that.
Okay. What are you
do is bring it back up.
Well, we can't give it away
Just
free.
joking. Now, speaking of what he's talking about, do we have, are there any, just on the status of used tires, do we have any information where people can dispose of them? I mean, not that they're wanting them for free or anything, but where can you pay to dispose of tires? Just so everyone knows that we don't have any more rolled off in the river or mountains.
West, and I don't know what the name of the Tri-State Tire Recovery.
Ain't that the one we just got on to for having all the tires
Yes,
put
sir,
up here?
but they've cleaned that all up, it's a whole different story now. They are the only ones that I know of in our county that is taking tires in to dispose of.
So maybe we could try and get that information out there somehow, because for people that they don't know where to get rid of tires, a lot of the dump facilities, they won't take it.
Could you check with your counterparts in some of our surrounding counties and see how they address some of these disposals? I know, certain counties have had like a month where people could bring a certain number of tires in and then they dispose of them
Yes,
that way.
that's the program that I'm talking about through EPD. It's just a matter of getting the paperwork filled out, getting a time set down, and that's something that I'd like to get with y'all to set up a time frame where we can talk about it now, it doesn't matter.
There's not but one company that takes these things anymore. I mean, there's one time point, there was like 4 people. And it's tire recovery now, it's the only place it's available for people to take anything like that. I haul my own, I haul them to Atlanta.
But they do have transportation, capabilities, they have a
They will lock you a
license.
trailer.
Yeah, and they do have those capabilities so they can haul them out of the county. Tri-State does.
So as we can see, a lot of confusion on where to get rid of your tires. Because you can't get rid of them at the dump facilities, which we have here. Nobody wants to take them. So I think this is a very good thing. We should move forward to try and educate people what to do with their old tires.
Okay.
Because as we can see, it's a lot of confusion even for us, where we're gonna get rid of them or.
Tri-State Tire Recovery is a company that will take in the tires.
Okay.
We've had some previous issues with them, which we don't want to discuss because it's still under investigation. But they will come and pick up the tires. They could probably drop off a trailer for us. My suggestion would be at the Public Works Department, but that's only a suggestion. That's something that somebody will have to come together and decide where we're gonna have these drop-offs at. Because it is a very big thing, and when we have one, last time, we got rid of 8,000 tires in the county.
Shut me down 3 days.
So, I mean, that's what, we've had 8,000 tires removed out of the county. So it's not just.
So maybe they're all gone, but we just need to catch the ones that find the new ones.
I think there's a few still in the county, maybe not 8,000.
Well, I think anything we can do to move forward, because there's no real place to get rid of tires that is readily available or.
Do you allow them to bring them to your shopping page?
What I generate's all I can handle.
I didn't have any
At
idea.
that point in time, when you're talking about the 8,000 tires you got, they would bring them dump truck loads and dump them out. And, and at that point, as best I remember, you got a $5,000 grant, is that right?
No, we got,
It's 5,000, 5 or 8,000, I think it's 5,000, because when they brought the tires down there, they brought them out here to, part of them out to, fire station, and they had to transport them on down there to get them out. We sent off 8 or 10 trailer loads down there. I remember it well. And, but they were, I think it was, you could bring so many from a household. The people were taking advantage of bringing down trailer loads up and down. They had the guys from the fires come and load them.
I think Commissioner Sosby knows more, certainly more than I do, about tires and the whole process of disposal. So if that's something you'd like to grab hold of and basically with Marie, figure out what direction we should go, I'm all in favor of this.
Polk County, Tennessee over there, they keep a trailer, same company, same bunch of folks, Tennessee and Georgia alike. They keep a trailer over there and they allow families to bring 8 tires a week. And they have to stack them in there, they have to throw them in the trailer and stack them, but they have it over there, and the county picks up the tires and keeps the roads clean.
So is that something you're willing to, I mean, kind of advise us if you're okay with about how to handle that and what's the
That would
best
be
way?
one good way to do it. You can park a trailer and, you know, but, thing of it is, you're gonna have to have somebody there to,
I feel like they leave that up to him. I think we need to find some way to inform people what to do with tires since none of the
well,
disposal.
every time you look at the paper, when they have cleanup on the river or whatever, they have more of those tires than they do most anything anyway.
If you-
A lot of them wind up.
If you'll work more exclusively on that issue with Commissioner Sotheby, that way we don't confuse the issue, but his expertise in that area is far better than mine. I think if we can do that,
Be fine.
it'd be great.
If you could give me a couple of weeks, I've got a lot going on.
I would. You call me when you ready,
Okay.
when your time's approved.
Okay, I don't have anything else unless you gentlemen do.
No.
Ms. Woody, thank you for coming, appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, Ms. Gazaway, you want to talk a little bit about budgets and give some financial reports? I think I need to get out of the way here, I believe. I'll come
Well,
down
if you
next
don't want it
time.
in your eyes.
No, I don't.
I'll stand up. You okay? Don't let me block you.
I just kind of want to give you a little bit of a summary of how things are going right now.
We'll give you a microphone. You got it?
Yep.
Okay.
As you know, the total Fannin County budget was $27 million approximately. At this point, you can see what the budget is. I kind of put everything in blocks so it wouldn't be as easier to see on the PowerPoint. But as you can tell, I've got the budget as we approved it. And then the next column over, I can't even get that thing right, is the actual numbers as of, I think it was June 13th. And we have spent a total of $9,700,000. And then I have percentages over on the side of there of the percentage of what we have spent. And as you can see on the total, we have spent 36% of our budget at this time, where we should be approximately, I think, 45,000. So we are under budget as it is as of now.
You mean 45%, right?
Yeah, 45%.
So we're
yes.
basically right now 10% under our actual expenditures compared to where our budget says we could be, should be. Correct?
Correct.
Okay.
And then these are just kind of like a pie chart, because sometimes it's easier to see people with visual of the different, administrations, judicial system, public safety, the debt the county has to pay, community services, the different grants, the hotel motel, and of course the road department are kind of the major categories. And I just kind of pie charted it to where most of your money is going for the total budget. And as you can see, public safety, which includes the sheriff's office, the jail, EMS, fire, 911, they kind of all go under that category. And 36% of your money goes to those programs. And then, of course, they're always the biggest and everything, but if you'll look at the next slide, these are your actual numbers that we have spent to date. And you can tell that the pie charts are almost identical, which means that each department is actually spending approximately what they're supposed to be spending. And you'd hope that that would stay the same throughout the whole year. And I just wanted to give you a summary. I've been really busy trying to get everything caught up, but I just wanted to give you a little bit of a summary of what's been going on. All the departments now get a monthly budget for them to look at and to make sure that they're not overspending on their monies. Several departments actually ask me way ahead of time, early before I can get them ready, because they're very concerned about that. And I'm very grateful that they are, and they're very appreciative of the fact that they're getting this information where in the past they hadn't been able to. Again, I just wanted to give you a little bit of a summary for right now.
Robin, can you go back to slide 1? The commissioners may have, I've had a little more time than they have to look at that today. The administration is the only one that's over, but that's not really just the Board of Commissioners administration. There's other departments that are kind of rolled into that. Is that correct?
Yes, the administration is the commissioner's office, tax, just anything. I've got a little bit of a, let's see what else is in there. Recreation is in there, the arts program, so they're all in there. So it's not just the commissioner's office.
So administration meaning administration of all those different departments.
Yes. Yeah, the administration number there is comprised of 11 different departments. Maintenance is in that, so there's several.
Right.
Like I said, I lumped a lot of together to make it easier to see on the board.
Right.
You know, like judicial is just your probate magistrate, clerk of court, superior court.
But as a whole, what we voted and approved the budget, as the chairman said, we're 10% under where we could be.
Yes, at this time.
There could be, I mean, like Public Works, they're 29.5%, which is combined what their administration cost is plus the SPOS money that goes into that. But this is the time of year where you're getting more active and going to be more expenditure. So we expect that to come up here over the next several months, particularly through September. But as we said right now, that's significantly under what it would be if you just had a direct linear progression of how that is. The debt, that's all basically the courthouse debt, isn't it? Right?
Yes, that's just the loan. And that's why it's at 50%, because it's in 2 payments.
Right.
2 payments a year, so we've already made 1 payment, so that's half the year. So there won't be anything else until the next payment's due.
Okay.
But irregardless, no, I'm not picking on, let's just say Public Works. I mean, by the way things are being done differently, the way we're accounting for things and the way the new processes that have been put in place, they seem to be working, correct?
Yes. And of course, you know, they've eliminated some positions. You know, they're cutting out overtime, as much overtime. All that's contributing to them being under.
Zach, you had, beginning of the year, or in December, 54 employees out there, correct? 53, and you're now at 39? 39.
And like on hotel motel, I know that looks a little low, but you gotta remember that you're 2 months behind.
2 months behind?
Yes, you're 1 month behind just on collections, and then you're 1 month behind because of accruals, basically counting accruals.
So how often should we plan that you'll be able to give a presentation? Because not only is it good for me, I mean, I think it's good for everyone to see what types of progress that we are making.
I would like to do one once a month, and I'd like to, you know, expand on this a little bit each time, maybe, if I can. Just
You can.
with the time and
You
everything.
can. We'll give you all the time you need on this.
And that way you can see this every month,
Yeah.
at least once a month. And of course, you all get quarterly, you get the
Right,
actual, the whole, you know,
Well, like
100
some of the
something.
questions that have been presented in public comments, just for example, earlier. I mean, this actually shows the people what's happening.
This is exactly what we expect.
It's kind of a shocker, I know, for most, because we've never done this, but this is a new process in itself.
Yes.
What we're doing here. If we were given enough time, I believe that we would all agree that things are, we're trying to move forward to new processes such as this, that we can all tell.
Where your money's been spent?
Look at where we come from to where we are now.
And I think one of the things I'd like for us to do as we go forward is, it's fine to compare actuals to this year's budget, but it also would be nice to compare the last year's actual expenditure, so you can see what was actually being spent this year. And I think the current software you got, which was changed late in the year for some reason, that makes it very cumbersome for you to try to pull these numbers out, does it not?
Yeah, I can get most of them. I think, you know, I think I can do a comparison like that. It's a matter of, and in full disclosure, I did not do these slides.
Well, don't tell everybody that.
I got an intern from the Development Authority came over to help me. To actually do a presentation, you know, to show you all up on a screen, so it's easier than to me just talking.
And it's easier than reading it off
Yes.
people. I think this is good for us, good for everyone involved.
So I'd like to continue to do it, maybe even improve upon it and expand on it. as much
So-
as possible.
What would the number actually be there, Robin, if, I mean, if we were looking at that, this is 5 months and 2 weeks actual numbers,
Approximately,
correct?
yes, uh-huh.
So what would that actual expenditure number be if we were just right exactly on that 5 months and 2 week track? What would that actual number be?
You mean with the percentage?
Yes. I mean,
Yeah.
all I'm saying is that 9.717 million, if it was exactly right on that 45.8%, what would that number be? Would that be 11, 12 million? What would that be? Just, I guess you could do some fast math.
I was guessing around 11.
Yeah, it should be around 11.
Okay. So we're well over $1 million under expenditures.
It's
for the
50%,
year.
you just take 27 million divided by 2, so.
Okay. All right.
Any
So
other
anybody
questions?
that doesn't understand, that's good news, we're under where we should be.
Good presentation, Robert.
Very good. Very good. Thank
Look
you.
forward to this evening.
You can put 2 sheets on that thing if you want to, it's directly like that. Or you can turn it towards the audience or something,
Oh.
towards Earl, Larry.
How's that? A little bit better?
Yeah, that's what's better. Okay.
Very good, very informative. All right, item number 9, approval of the Water Authority budget for July 1st, 2017 to June 30th, 2018. This is a duty of this board that oversees the Fannin County Water Authority. We do have a very close tie relationship with the board, and it's in their legislation that their annual budget comes before this board for approval. So, as you gentlemen can see, the budget, the operations, and what the SPOS, how important that is to keep them moving forward. And also in here, they've accounted for, there's a couple of things that's made that a little different from previous years in that they have started paying, they're required to start paying the note on the USDA repayment, which is about $109,000 a year. They will also have a GFA repayment on the Riverwalk project that was just completed. And they have budgeted funds in there for, projects they have upcoming, as well as paying the Fannin County loan repayment that goes back for some years, which initially was around, I think, 1.3 million, 1.4, somewhere in that range. So they're getting that down very, very close to being a repayment. And we will continue to work with them. Basically, there will always be some amount of funds that we'll need to settle with them at the end of the year, and that's primarily because of the efficiencies of letting their employees run their benefits through the county system, and then at the end of the year, we make a settlement with them, and they pay us back for that. But do you gentlemen have any questions or thoughts on the Water Authority budget?
I have none.
Okay, all right.
Motion we accept.
Okay, I'll second that. All in favor? Motion's approved. The Water Authority budget is officially approved. You're smiling, Mr. Chapman. Okay. All right. Item number 10, discuss the Board of Commissioners meeting time going forward. I hear different things when I talk to people in the public. I know there's folks that work that 6 o'clock is inconvenient for them. I know we have county employees that come here. Some of them would like to come to these meetings. And occasionally we have folks that we have to pay wages for that stay on here much later. And I don't think moving it to the middle of the day or a different time, I think I really would like for us to look at, well, let's say, what do you guys say, 5 o'clock, 5:15? Can we do that?
5:15 is a good number.
Do you work with that, Commissioner
Say
Johnson?
2.
2? But will you settle for 5:15?
I don't know how you think about it, why y'all discuss it.
Okay. It's not an item we have to vote on. I mean, it's an item we can just decide to move it that way.
At one point in time, it was 5:15, I think, and, was time, but he wanted to change it to 6 o'clock.
Okay, all right. Well, gentlemen, I'd like to move our meetings, not the days, but just the time, back from 6 o'clock to 5:15. And let's do that going forward. Ms. Karen, if you will put that on our county website, and we'll change that going forward. All right. Do we need executive session?
So y'all vote on it?
You don't, it's not really a votable
Oh,
thing to me.
okay. 5 o'clock it is, 5:15.
5:15.
Why didn't you say 2?
Andy Griffith's on at 2 o'clock, I can't miss that. Okay, do we need executive session? Okay. Do I hear a motion for adjournment? I'll make it. Second? Second, all in favor? Meeting is adjourned.